So what's more important than making the right decision? It's making the decision right. In this video, I'm going to explain how that works. Stick around to the end, because at the end, I'm going to share an event that took place in my life that radically changed my life. And for the last 35, 40 years, it has impacted the way that I live. Hi, this is Old Mike, Old Me, living better. If you ain't dead, you ain't done. I started my YouTube channel this year in 2024. At 80 years old, if I can do it, you can do it. So I hope you're encouraged with the video. If you like it, subscribe, share it with others. So let's get started. So here's my mentor, Daryl. He's 87 years old. Now I'm 80, he's 87. So you need to have a mentor that's older than you are. Now the problem is, the older you get, you're going to run out of mentors pretty soon, right? But Daryl gave me some advice some 35 years ago that has radically changed the way that I live. As a matter of fact, Daryl so believed in the three things I'm going to share with you, he put them on a business card. Yeah, here they are right here. I'm not going to share them with you now because I want to roll them out one at a time. But these three strategies, these three things help to ensure that not only do we make right decisions, but the decisions we make them right. That's so critical. So the very first thing, now don't turn me off. This word I'm going to use is overused a lot, I know. But the first thing you need is the word prioritize. Oh man, that word has been overused so much, I got to tell you. So I'm obsessed with time management. I bought my first daytimer in 1979. Daytimer's been around since the late 40s. And this is terrible, but I can go back in my storage unit, offsite storage unit, dig out my daytimers and tell you what I did this day in 1980. Boy, how's that for being obsessive? But I got hooked into time management so much so that it radicalized the way that I live my life. Prioritizing is a very important part of that. So I'm going to give you a couple of things about prioritizing that help to make decisions right. Everything I'm going to share with you filters through this idea of making decisions right. So one of the first things I learned was from Stephen Covey, the author of The 7 Habits of Effective People. It's in its 30th anniversary publication. If you've not read that book, you need to go back and read it. It's still relevant to today. So I heard Covey at a conference in the 80s, and he said this. He said, if you want to be effective, every day you need to do the hardest thing first. So when I prioritize my day, and I do, I list on a to-do list. I used to do it in my daytimer. I now do it in my traveler's notebook. And so every single day I have a weekly version of the traveler's notebook. And then I have a journal in the front of it. But I make my to-do list in my traveler's notebook. So I list all the things I have to do during the day at the top, and then I prioritize those things. Number one is always the hardest thing to do, or the thing I don't want to do the most. Put that at the top. Covey says the reason for that is once you've got that out of the way, the rest of the day is a breeze. Boy, and that is absolutely true. So the next thing, that's number one on the to-do list. The next thing is the most important thing. Now, I read a little pamphlet from InterVarsity Press years and years ago that had a big impact on my life. It's called The Tyranny of the Urgent. The Tyranny of the Urgent. It's based on biblical principles, but it translates into business and personal life issues. Here's how it works. The concept is the things that are really important get trampled out or crowded out by the urgent. I bet that's your case. You get emails, phone calls, people knocking on your door, coming in your office, whatever it is. I mean, the urgent, the fire alarm. Now, if it's a fire alarm, that's urgent. If your toilet overflows, yeah, you got to deal with that. But 99% of the things that come to me that are urgent, they're urgent for the other person. They're urgent for the other person, but they're not urgent for me. And what that does is that as I'm filtering out the concept of making my decisions right, the more urgent that invades my daily experience, it interferes with making that decision right. Every decision that I make has to go through a filter. Otherwise, I won't know if it's really right or not. As a matter of fact, this process over my life, I've made a lot of decisions I thought were right, but in the process of making that decision right, I discovered it was the wrong decision. Can any of you relate to that? If you can, comment in the comments below. Let me know the decisions that you made you thought were right, and then as you worked on the process of making them right, you discover they really weren't right at all. So prioritizing takes a big step in the right direction of getting our decisions into an area where they really become right. Now, number 2 on Daryl, my mentor's list, is simplify. Simplify. Oh, I really love this because how many of you have heard the old slogan or saying, how do you eat an elephant? Now, by the way, I've never eaten an elephant. I don't intend to eat an elephant, okay? But the saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? The answer is one bite at a time. Now, I'm going to guess a lot of you watching this video are visionaries and dreamers. You've got big dreams. Dreams of a new job, a career, getting married, starting a YouTube channel. I don't know what it is, but we have these big dreams and big visions. One of the problems with being a dreamer is that I never take the time. It's like trying to eat the elephant in one bite, right? So simplify has to do with taking what the big dream is or the big vision is and getting it down into bite-sized chunks that I may be able to digest it. Brene Brown, in one of her books, she talks about decision fatigue. Decision fatigue. That's when you look at the elephant and you can't decide what to do. It's too big. That's why you have to break it down into bite-sized elements. I think most dreams can be accomplished when I take the time to look at all the steps. Now, the other thing can happen too. I've had some big dreams in the past, and then as I've sat down and I've made a plan that falls under what's called delayed gratification. I make the plan to get to the dream and I discover, man, there's 125 steps and it's going to take me 4 years to get to that dream. Am I willing to do that? It's like my video on how to start a YouTube channel at 80 years old. I suggest that you take 3 months to do the planning. It's so important to whatever your vision or dream is to break it down into stages and steps. And a lot of times, at least what's happened to me, I've had to experience what's called the death of a vision. The death of a vision? Sometimes before I can really realize and walk into what my real purpose in life is, I have to go through the death of some visions and the death of some dreams. I don't know. Is it time for you to let go of a dream? Is it time for you to let go of a vision? Comment below. Tell me, what do you think? Or is it time to press in? Are you frustrated with your dream? Are you frustrated with making a right decision now, trying to make that decision right? you've got decision fatigue and you're struggling. Take some time, map it out, write it out. Get a journal. Journal it out. You know my journal, my ox pine journal. I just love these journals. All of the dreams and visions that I have, a lot of times what I'll do, I'll get one journal just for that particular project or that particular dream. And I'll begin to write about it. If you have a creative mind, you'll be like me. Things pop up into our minds. That's why I carry a voice recorder with me all the time. I have a notebook with me all the time. So the dreams and the visions need to be put down in some sort of an order, but they don't come in order. So I've had the greatest dreams, I got to tell you, the greatest visions. And so I'm thinking about it, but they don't come in a natural order when I'm trying to think them out. But by writing them down, then I can reorder them and change them into actionable goals, daily goals. That's why I prioritize this right in the very beginning. As I get this down, I'm making my decision right, I break it down into actionable goals and I prioritize those, and then they can become achievable. Now, if you've stayed with me, I hope you have. Here's the third thing on my mentor Daryl's business card. Are you ready? Here it is. Purify. Purify. What in the world does that have to do with anything? Prioritize, simplify, purify. Here's the power of this. If the decisions that I have made, if I think I made a right decision, now I'm making that decision right, it has to match my core value. It has to match what I really believe. It has to match who I really am. If it doesn't, if it's outside of that, then it can be a disaster. Let me share with you what happened to me many years ago. In high school, my friend Larry and Larry, I haven't seen you for years. If you're watching this, please reach out and let me know you're still there, okay? So Larry and I used to sneak out of our houses at night. We'd take our parents' car and we'd go joyriding. We found this Catholic church that had a school, and they had all these school buses, and you could jimmy the gate, drive in there, and they had a gas pump that did not have a lock on it. And we filled up our cars, and we did this for a year. I can't believe how much gas we used from this Catholic church. So fast forward, now I'm in my 30s, and I happened to be in that town again for something else. I don't even remember what it was. And the church was in a residential area, and I happened to have to go down this street, and bam, there's that Catholic church. Oh my word. It hit me like a brick. I stole all the gas from that church. I made a U-turn, drove up, got out, went into the Catholic church. I asked the nun at the desk, I said, I need to speak to a priest. Is a priest available? She said, they're all at a conference. Nobody's here. We have a brand new priest who's only been here 2 days. He just graduated from seminary. You can talk to him if you want to. And I thought, oh, brother, a rookie priest, just what I need, right? And I'm not even Catholic, but I need to get this off my chest. I brought my checkbook. I was ready to write a check for all the gas that I had stolen when I was in high school. So now I'm sitting across a desk from this young, my word, he looked like he was just graduated from high school. Nice guy though, oh my word. So I explained my whole story to him. I get out my checkbook. I'm ready to write what I've estimated I've stolen over that year's time. He says, wait a minute, let's think about this for a moment. I'm not kidding. He sat there for like 5 minutes. I couldn't tell if he was praying or thinking or what. I don't know what he was doing. Finally, he looks up and he says, here's what I think you need to do. Until you feel it's time to stop, or what I'm going to ask you to do stops, I want you, every time you go into a gas station and somebody comes up and asks you for gas, I want you to fill their tank up. That was it. That was his advice. Now, what happened over the next year and a half totally blew me away. I am not kidding. And my wife and I, we were on a trip. Wherever we went, if I was by myself, I would go into a filling station. People would come out of the bushes. Sir, could you help me out with some gas money? It got so bad after a while. When somebody came walking up to me in a filling station, I just said, pull your car up, I'll fill it up. And that's what I did. For a year and a half, I must have filled up 100 gas tanks with gas. It got to be so funny. My wife and I, we were driving to the filling station, and she would say, well, I wonder how many tanks you're going to fill up today. It's true. Sometimes I filled up more than one tank. And then a year and a half of doing this, it just stopped. From that day to this day, from my 30s till I'm now 80, seldom has anybody asked me for gas. So why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because in making decisions right, it's not as simple as writing a check. It's not as simple as a one-time thing. The idea of purification is that when I'm making a decision right, something is working in me or something is being worked out of me. Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. So, over a year and a half, every time I filled up a tank of gas, I thought of that young Catholic priest. I thought about what he was communicating to me, maybe what God was communicating to me. And I had the best classroom for a year and a half of purifying my motives. Now, the decision that Larry and I made to steal gas was not the right decision. That was a wrong decision. But to turn any kind of a decision into something that's right and make a decision right, oftentimes is a process. It takes time. And over that year and a half, I was able to see some of the problems in my own life that needed to be corrected, that I might grow to be 80 years old, that I might make right decisions and make decisions right, and be able to share this with you and encourage you. No matter how old you are, you not only need to make right decisions, but you need to make those decisions right. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to live to be 80. Somebody said a long life is a blessing or is a gift. A long life is a gift. I think that a long life well lived, that's the gift. A long life well lived is a life where the decisions I make those right decisions right. I prioritize, I simplify, and I purify. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you stuck with me this long, I'm going to link to another video that's on the same similar topic, a video I did not too long ago on, you may be right, but there's a wrong way to do a right thing. You may be right, but there's a wrong way to do a right thing. I don't know. I'm hung up on making decisions right now. Maybe that's it. It's a good video, and I encourage you to watch that. Again, if you like the video, click like. You can join my email list. Oh, you can buy me a cup of coffee if you want to support the channel. Yeah, if you stayed this long, you've endured a lot. Maybe I should buy you a cup of coffee, okay? Anyway, I've enjoyed sharing with you. I hope you've been encouraged. If you have, share with me in the comments below. Let me know how you've been encouraged or some of your challenges with that. This is Old Mike, Old Me, living better. If you ain't dead, you ain't done. I'll see you next time, okay? Bye.